Okay, it's live stream.
Setting in.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear?
Lagunya ada, Bang.
Sebentar.
Telah tiba bulan Ramadan, bulan yang penuh dengan rahmat. Telah datang bulan puasa, bulan yang penuh maghfirahnya. Ramadan tiba, hati bahagia, saatnya lebih khusyuk ibadah. Ramadan datang, hati kan riang, mari bersama rebut kemenangan. Sebulan lebih kita merayakan Al Wajib, perintah agama, dan segala lahan haruskan damakan. Membina ibadah Ramadan lainnya. Ramadan tiba, hati bahagia, saatnya lebih khusyuk ibadah. Ramadan datang, hati kan riang, mari bersama rebut kemenangan. Na 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 na, na 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 na
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, ladies and gentlemen, and all the participants. As we are about to begin our webinar, we have a few housekeeping notes to make before we begin today's webinar. And in Ramadan Talk, we attempt of promoting activism and solidarity among Muslim youth in OIC member states. And first, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Kindly switch to the Zoom to silent mode to avoid interruption during the session. And you can unmute your voice for the Q&A session by our moderator for the next. If you have any comments during the session, you can chat the host privately in the chat box. Okay, that's all, and thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Okay, let me start our webinar today. Good evening for all. Before the agenda, I want to make greeting to all our participants, especially to all our excellent speakers today. It is my pleasure to be an MC for this webinar. And my name is Suchiloni, and I'm part of American Corner in Jakarta Volunteer, behalf of American Spaces US Embassy. And I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We really appreciate you to taking your time off and on your busy schedules to join us today. We hope you will learn a lot of today materials and our webinar. We have lined up for you to be fruitful and engaging in this webinar. For the next session, there is a welcoming speech. I would like to remind for each speaker to deliver the speech for 5 minutes, and we are pleased to have Mrs. Astrid Nadia Rizkita as the president of OIC Youth Indonesia. Okay, Mrs. Astrid Nadia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you, Shiloni, for
Screen
giving
is
the
yours.
floor. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Jiran, Director of National Projects Department at ICYF, all the way from Istanbul. Good to see you again, Hanam, and Dr. Hossein Kashiri, Asian Board Member at ICYF and Youth Consultancy Pardis from Iran. Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, Chairman of Indonesia National Youth Council and Vice President of ICYF. Respected Dr. Joni Madrizal, Senior Advisor of Minister of Youth and Sports, Republic of Indonesia. Distinguished speakers present, Mr. Enes Yalman, the Secretary General of International Islamic Federation of Student Organization. Mr. Abdul Rahman from Nigeria, the Executive Director of YMCGP. Dr. Kana Kurniawan, Chairman of Pemuda PUI. Mr. Ibrahim Fahmi, Chairman of Pemuda Persis, and Mr. Abdul Razak Nasution, Chairman of Himah Al-Wasliyah. First of all, I'd like to thank Allah for giving us this opportunity for us to convene in this blessed occasion, inshallah, to discuss about promoting activism and solidarity among Muslim youth in OIC member states. Also, salawat and salam goes to our Prophet Muhammad SAW for giving us the guidance from the dark times to guidance, inshallah. And as we reach the third day of the blessed month of Ramadan, I would like to take this opportunity to greet all of you Ramadan Kareem, and I pray Allah the Almighty forgives our sins, accept our good deeds, and give ease to all our affairs for His sake, inshallah. And taking into account the theme on activism and solidarity, we're glad to have all our esteemed speakers and distinguished guests for your time, because the most important of all is maintaining silaturahim and kinship. Also, we'd like to congratulate the Muslim youth organizations, namely the Pemuda PUI, Pemuda Persis, and Himah Al-Wasliyah for the completion of the Congress of the election of the Muktamar successfully. And we are eager to listen from all of you, your visions and reflections on leadership, as well as we'd like to listen hear from the representatives of ICYF, Ms. Jaren as Director of Projects Department regarding activities from ICYF as the affiliated organ to the OIC, which coordinates youth, and also from Dr. Hussein Kashiri to share his perspective, and also from Dr. Joni Madrizal on the Indonesian government perspective on youth engagements and leadership. And we'd like to again wish that all of you would benefit from this event, inshallah, and thank you for your time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for the great your speech. And The next welcoming speech will be delivered by Tuba Jaren, as Excellency, the Director of International Projects at ICYF. Okay, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, dear Mr. President, dear Miss President of the OIC Youth Indonesia, and dear moderator. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Ramadan Kareem and Mubarak to all of you. I do hope that and I pray you and your beloved families are safe and healthy during this pandemic time. I would like to deliver the speech of the Mr. President on behalf of ICYF Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum. It gives me great pleasure to be present at the opening ceremony of Promoting Activism and Solidarity Among Muslim Youth virtual event organized by the OIC Youth Indonesia. It is important for a Muslim community in order to thrive and progress to build harmony among its members. Solidarity is a commitment for the betterment of each individual as they share part of responsibility towards one to another. Individuals in communities where solidarity exists abandon their own selfishness and think and behave as a community instead of prioritizing the common good rather than the interest of the few. The world is increasingly becoming more interconnected, and solidarity does not merely prevail within the territorial borders, it must be extended beyond borders to reach the wider Muslim community. The OIC member states account for roughly 30% of the world population, making it the biggest region of the globe. Members are located in every continent and arguably share the common values, beliefs, and norms. With solidarity, this would make it a powerful influence in the international arena to speak up for what is right and fight social and global injustices and the suffering of the Muslim minorities in some non-Muslim majority nations where Muslims are being marginalized. Muslims practice solidarity in diverse forms as a religious rituals. Ramadan is the month that we are celebrating at the moment. We can see the various aspects of this solidarity in different societies as the unique spirit of this solidarity. There are other forms of basic practices that individuals, especially the youth, can take, such as participating in social activities, social responsibility programs, involving with social organizations to create a change for the better. Just for a basic example, an architect can involve in developing a project to improve the quality of housing in slums and plan the strategy of providing affordable housing. A doctor, they are doing a lot during pandemic actually, but a doctor can allocate voluntary time for those who are the most vulnerable to diseases, illnesses, and the viruses that different regions are tackling with. Such collective actions by individuals encourage people to think about their communities as a whole and encourage solidarity among whole these part of communities. However, that is of course not enough to solve the bigger common issues and obstacles in the Muslim societies. To overcome them, a firm commitment towards Muslim communities by the individuals at the national level and by the OIC member states at the global level should be taken into consideration for the betterment of Ummah jointly. Promoting solidarity among Muslim youth could be done by various ways. As ICYF, providing trainings on activism, creating practical tools for advocacy, and most importantly, creating for space where young people can discuss their common problems and provide solutions to those problems are one of the important methodology to provide active platforms for young people. And as well as creating space for intercultural dialogue, social inclusion, and solidarity at international, regional, and national level is important. Taking into consideration the importance of unity and solidarity among Muslim youth, we are aware of ICYF's critical position to ensure this very significant aim. ICYF is an affiliated institution to OIC, focused and dynamic body of OIC that enhances the development of youth communities and builds spiritual connection between them by empowering with the unity of Ummah. In this scope, we are developing youth-driven initiatives that will steer the unity and the prosperity of Muslims for today and for the future. No matter who and no matter where, our mission is to reach out to every Muslim young who is a unique component of the great Ummah. Despite all the limitations and disadvantages of COVID-19 pandemic, on a local and global basis, our activities have already evolved to a different stage, which allows us to expand our reach out to the Muslim youth than ever before. This has been indeed another brilliant level for our mission. Following the outbreak of the pandemic, we transformed almost all of our activities and projects into digital format. We managed to execute the majority of our planned and proposed initiatives virtually. Moreover, we also have been continuing to extend strategic. Moreover, we also have been continuing to cooperation with international organizations in OIC region and beyond, which ultimately serves to strengthen the bonds among Muslim youth that are very far from each other. ICYF has effectively been cooperating with various reputable partners, including governmental and international institutions, national youth councils, and non-governmental organizations to contribute to this mission. On the other hand, ICYF gives enormous importance to prepare its annual strategic plans in line with the OIC Youth Strategy, Youth Resolutions, and Sustainable Development Goals. As ICYF, we acknowledge Muslim youth as the pioneer of solidarity and unity of Ummah. As an international youth institution, we will ensure promoting our youth for a prosperous, united future. Before I conclude, allow me to assure you that ICYF has always been ready to continue working with concerned authorities in OIC countries to promote solidarity and unity among Muslims by implementing joint programs with youth, for youth, and to youth. This is important note that we also welcome such kind of important initiatives has been taken by the OIC Youth Indonesia, and I would like to also underline they are making really important milestone achievements in their national level and as well as the international level to be one of the great example of the youth activism, youth active participation to the solidarity level and different level of that Muslims are facing within OIC region. So I congratulate OIC Youth Indonesia for their important initiatives for the betterment of Muslim youth and trying to be always leading way to provide different activities for the Muslim brothers and sisters. I pray Allah Almighty to grant us success to serve the youth of the Ummah effectively. Thank you very much for your attention. And I also wish for the successful event implementation virtually. We will be always here as ICYF to follow you, to support you whenever you need us. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for Jaran, for your great speech and your suggestion. And the next welcoming speech will be delivered by Dr. Hossein Kashidi, an excellence of ASEAN board member at ICYF and Youth Consultancy Parties. Dr. Hossein Kashidi?
Yes, can you hear me?
It's yours, yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, dear my colleagues in Indonesia and the rest of countries, His Excellencies and authorities of Indonesia, my dear colleague in ICYF, Ms. Jaran, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. and all Muslim countries, I would like to express to you my congratulations on this blessed occasion. May Allah bless all Muslims with peace. May the spirit of Ramadan stay in our hearts and illuminate our soul from within. Secondly, I would like to express my sincere thanks for my invitation, this opportunity to this nice Ramadan talk and very good topic regarding to promoting activism and solidarity among Muslim youth in OIC. Thanks OIC Youth in Indonesia and especially my dear brother and colleague, Mr. Tantan Tawfiq, Vice President of ICYF, for giving me this opportunity and talking with young Muslim people. Dear brothers and sisters, today we experience the largest generations of youth in history. Approximately 1.8 billion young people, and according to a statistic, half of them live in Asia. Now young people are more interconnected than ever before, and many are leading politically and socially and economic change in their communities. Most of the countries, governments, parliaments, and other bodies understand that they should use and support this capacity of young people. For example, in next 2 months, we will have 2 great elections in Islamic Republic of Iran related to government and local government. And according to our Supreme Leader speech, young people now in Iran are ready to increase participation. I think there are 2 important issues for us and also for government. The things regarding to us is increasing initiatives, innovation, monitoring, participation, and something is very important for government is accepting this huge capacity of young people in their bodies and governments. Another important thing, especially in this time, is understanding concept of solidarity. Each of us is part of the human family, and we are all interconnected and interdependent. Loving our neighbor has global dimensions, and we must see ourselves in others and collaborate towards and solutions. Solidarity is a recognition that we are all in this together and is a commitment to strengthen community and promote a just society. One of good example in this time is the pandemic, COVID-19. This pandemic is a stark reminder of the importance of solidarity. As we move forward, we understand better and better this concept. This we explore diverse of the pandemic, learn from the global response, and become more prepared for the future. And the role of young people in this issue is very, very important, as we see nowadays in all of the Muslim countries. Young people are very active in this pandemic related to having solidarity and cooperating with each other. The other point I would like to mention, according to the time, is the concept of globalization and youth culture. According to the agenda of this virtual meeting, I choose another topic for mention. Globalization and youth culture. Globalization has numerous consequences for youth cultures. The increase in media stream and has resulted in global consumerism. Young people around the world show concern about the negative consequences of globalization, although we should consider a positive one. But around the world, more young people than ever are building a global culture focused on engagement, interaction, and democracy. whether building economics, promoting peace and non-violence, creating educational opportunities, and developing transnational cooperation. Youth and globalization are tied together tightly. I think some positive aspect of globalization, like more connected we together, is the best opportunity, I think, for us to have a solidarity. For example, this globalization interconnected causes today we are connecting together for talking about the concept of solidarity and also Ramadan talk. I think that this globalization is very good opportunity also for young Muslim people to bring all capacities together and have this unity and this solidarity. According to the agenda, I would like to mention these three keywords of young Muslim people. One is having this unity and solidarity together. Two is more interconnected and more being cooperative together, and also having their reflection toward globalization and in direction of their cultures in Muslim countries. We should have a plan for the future. Again, I would like to thanks all of you for your attention in the rest of the virtual meeting. If there is an opportunity to have some answered question, I'm ready to more cooperation. But according to the time you and the moderator gave me, I want to thank all of you and thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much for Dr. Hussein Kashiri for the great speech. And the next, the fourth welcoming speech will deliver by Mr. Tantan Telubis as Excellence of Chairman of Indonesia and OIC. Okay, Mr. Tantan, are you there? Okay, maybe you can unmute your voice. Okay,
yeah, you can
screen is yours, Mr. Tantan.
Yeah, you
Thank
can hear me?
Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Marhaban ya Ramadan, marhaban bik. Your Excellencies, my senior in the Ministry of Youth and Sport of the Republic Indonesia, Dr. Joni Madrizal. Bang Joni, my brother, Dr. Hussein Kashiri, ASEAN board member of ICYF. He's living in Iran and representing the ASEAN region. The director project of ICYF, their leader, Tugba Zeren Zersi, is always involved in our program, Alhamdulillah. And then Ms. Astrid Nadia Rizkita, the president of OIC Youth and also Deputy National Council of Indonesia, who are always making the progressive and revolutionary program in Indonesia. Until now, already done 75 sessions of webinar during pandemic COVID-19. Honorable speakers, my brother Enes Yalman, the Secretary General of International Islamic Federation Student Organization, and also the Director of International Relations in University of Ibn Khaldun, Istanbul. My brother Abdurrahman Olakekan, Executive Director of Young Men for Good Stewardship, Community and Peace Building in Nigeria. Ustadz Fahmi Ibrahim, Chairman Pemuda Persis. Ustadz Dr. Kana Kurniawan, Chairman Pemuda PUI, dan tentunya saudara saya yang tercinta, Ustadz Abdul Rajak Nasution, Chairman Himma Al-Wasliyah, yang masih dalam satu garis famili dengan marga Lubis, insya Allah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Amma ba'du. Fi awwal marrah hayya bina naskuru syukran ila Allah jalla sa'dah alladzi qad ata'na ni'matan wa hidayatan wa taufiqan hatta nastati an najtami wa natamakkan fi hadhil qa'ah syarifah insyaallah. Wa thaniyan wassalatu wassalam ila hatibin nabiyyin Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam alladzi qad hamalana min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur min al-jahiliyah ila al-islam. And the last but not least, in this session, I would like to send my gratitude, a lot of thanks to the all committee from the OIC Youth Indonesia and National Council of Indonesia, especially for Asid Nadia Rizkita and his team, Tarif Saifullah, the Secretary General and the Treasurer, Mepi Amanda, and all the board of OIC Youth Indonesia, not only for making this webinar tonight, but also for his passion and his leadership to connecting all the potential ummah and the potential young generation around the world. Alhamdulillah. My brother, sister, and all audience, arsadakumullah, as we know that the young is the element of importance for the social change in everywhere, not only in Indonesia, in Asia, but in all the continent of all the world. The youth is taking position as the avant-garde of the social movement. The voice and the mentality of the youth play the important role in the field of activism and what we call help to the decision maker to developing and implementing the innovative decision that will impact to the all level of the society, not only for the young generation, but to the old generation also. Youth could be impact to the whole aspect in humanity of Indonesia. Then, brother and sister, what should we do? What should you do in this regard? Because the youth do not thinking themselves. The youth should be thinking of the people interest, as the old proverb in Arab said that what I forget, inna fi yadi subani amrul ummah wa fi aqdamiha hayatah. In the hand of youth, the affair of ummah. In the hand of youth, the affair of the people. And in the there of the hand, the continue of their life. So it's the very important task for the youth in very aspect and all the field of human making. Brother, sister, in our discussion tonight, has come many speakers or 5 speakers, and already together with us, is coming from the youth organization, from the Islamic youth organization in the national level and the international level. Inshallah, all of them has a lot of experience, has a lot of activity in the field of youth empowering. So their explanation, their perspective will enlighten all of us and will give us the Aufklärung. So what should we do for the youth empowerment? is already in our face, inshallah. And then welcome to the Assembly of the Knowledge. Marhaban ala majalisil ilmu. Selamat mengikuti diskusi dalam majelis ilmu. Saya mengucapkan marhaban ya Ramadan. Mudah-mudahan Ramadan ini penuh berkah, tidak hanya dipakai untuk berpuasa, tapi juga dipakai untuk ibadah-ibadah lainnya, dan salah satunya adalah menghadiri majelis-majelis ilmu seperti sekarang. Alhamdulillah, dari kelima narasumber hari ini akan mewakili 3 kelompok besar pemuda Islam di Indonesia dan 2 kelompok besar yang ada di kontinen Afrika dan kontinen Eropa. Insya Allah akan bermanfaat sekali. Berdemikian apa yang saya sampaikan. Salam hormat untuk semuanya. Wabillahi taufiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wallahu muwaffiq ila sabilil haq. Nun wal qalami wa ma yasturun. My deep regard and warm regard to my president in Istanbul, the President Taha Ain Hanbay. Greeting from Indonesia. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh for Mr. Tantan for the great speech. And okay, for the next, the last welcoming speech delivered by our speakers, Dr. Joni Madrizal, Excellence of Senior Advisor to Minister of Youth and Sport RI. Okay. Dr. Joni Madrizal, are you there?
Yes, you hear me?
Okay, we hear you. Okay,
Yeah.
the screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah, asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'da. My brother and sister, Excellency, my brother Tantan Taufik Lubis, Vice President of ICYF and Chairman of Indonesia National Youth Council, Dr. Hussein Kasiri, Board Member at ICYF of Asian Region and Youth Consultancy, further from Iran, Ms. Tuga Karen Sersi, Director of International Project at ICYF, and Ms. Astrid Natia Rizkita, President of OIC Youth Indonesia. And esteemed panel speaker, Mr. Enes Yelman, Secretary General of IIFSO, Mr. Abdul Rahman, Executive Director of YMGCV from Nigeria, saudaraku Dr. Kana Kurniawan, Ketua Pemuda PUI, sahabatku Ibrahim Fahmi, Chairman of Pemuda Persis, dan saudara Abdul Razak Nasution, Chairman of Himmah Al-Wasliyah. Brother and sister, on this blessed month of Ramadan, and we reach the 3rd and 4th day, I take this opportunity to greet all of you Ramadan Kareem. The COVID-19 pandemic is the devastating crisis in history, but it also possesses of opportunity to remind the global community while multilateralism is vital to secure the world peace, security, and prosperity. We witness how the health crisis of today, globalism, world interlinked global economy, geopolitics, and social values. However, it is true that took and challenge time that we see how cooperating among countries is of important and crucial. At present, Republic of Indonesia holds strategic position both in the United States as well as the OIC what the senior institution as well as the youth institution. United States through the ECOSOC, UN Habitat, etc. The OIC through the Islamic Cooperating Youth Forum, or commonly known as the OIC Youth Forum, in which the Vice President of ASEAN region is represented by Indonesia. The number of young people in the OIC countries could be portrayed as the main strength of the region. All the other region dealing with the demographic decline, while in the OIC by 2050 is projected the youth population is reach 30% of the total population. Consequently, the essential window of opportunity in the area is the polarized and youth is to be invested with essential opportunities to reach their full personal and professional potential in order to develop a coherent and consistent youth policy. The OIC member states are defined as well the age range that would cluster youth. The most dynamic group of the social structure permanently affected by all the social and political change had been defined as a social contraction of what is produced from the relationship between individual and institutional. At the government level, the constitutional mandate by law number 40 of 2009 concerning youth and through president regulation number 99 of 2017 mandate the importance of cross-sector coordination in youth service. Indonesia support the joint youth action plan as well as the OIC youth strategy that have been adopted as a general strategy and government of youth development planning in overcoming various global challenges member countries. And the joint OIC youth strategy can be harmonized with the National Long-Term Development or RPGM from Bappenas Republic of Indonesia for 2005 to 2025, especially relate to the development of youth. The 11 priority areas include education, youth employment, social inclusion, youth and extremism, entrepreneurship, health service, marriage and early marriage, youth engagement and civil society, new culture challenge and globalization, migration and integration, and youth and environment. In the senior multilateral scope, Republic of Indonesia is a member of ECOSOC, have multilateral ties with broadly countries in developing age, and at present, Indonesia is the co-chair of the OIC contact group on dialogue and peace. One of the main concerns is combating Islamophobia. Other global forums such as G20 Youth Summit, G20 Forum, ECOSOC Youth Forum, Develop AQ Youth Summit, which have been held recently, have all succeeded in bridging influential and highly capable youth of Indonesia to represent their country at the global stage as well. Indonesia is active member of the G20 and currently preparation for the working group and the Youth Summit underway as Indonesia's chairmanship has been decided as for the forthcoming year. This shows that ideally the youth government representative as well private sector should have a better synergy for a better optimization and a better chance for Indonesia youth to take part in global forum as the future leader of their country in whatever capacity that they choose the syrup in the future. We hope that through online discussion with youth speaker, we can address and share the best approach to growing youth activities mentalism and share experience with regard to collaboration. Youth work for better highly the exposure of the collective consent of youth and to take action to address and strive to find common solution to the main challenge related to the youth issues. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for Dr. Joni Madrizal for the great speech and all the suggestion. And the next session is our main session, which is panel session who will deliver by some of excellent speakers today. Before we go to this, let me to introduce our moderator, Dina Octavia, who is Bachelor in Law at UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, specifically in legal session consultation of business law from 2016 until 2020. She has some great achievement during the study, such as first winner of moot court of faculty at Faculty of Sharia and Law at Seoul Tangerang in December 2019. And the other one is she got the Verbal Commendation Award or VITA Model United Nations at UPN in University in 2019 October. So let's begin to deliver by Dina Octavia as a moderator. Okay, hello Kadina, are you there?
Hello,
Okay.
thank you Oni. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Dina Octavia as a moderator tonight. Yeah. Okay, so the topics today in Ramadan Talk is about promoting activism and solidarity among Muslim youth in OIC member states. So first of all, I need to say hello semuanya, all participants, all speakers, that very outstanding. And first of all, that welcoming speech is really great. And for the next sessions, we would like to welcome our panel speakers. So each speakers have 10 minutes to deliver the speech. Jadi setiap pembicara ada 10 menit untuk berbicara. Dan we have 5 speakers here. Yang pertama ada Mr. Enes Yauman, Secretary General of IISSO. Yang kedua ada Mr. Abdurrahman Omokumni Olelekan, Executive Director of YMGCP. Yang ketiga ada Mr. Ibrahim Fahmi, Chairman PP Pemuda PUI. Yang keempat ada Dr. Kana Kurniawan, Chairman PP Pemuda PUI juga. Yang kelima ada Mr. Abdul Razak Nasution, Chairman PP Hima Al-Washliyah. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Enes Yauman. Saya akan membacakan CV-nya Mr. Enes Yauman. So, Mr. Enes Yauman is a graduate of International Islamic University in Malaysia, master degree in Computer Information Engineering, a candidate of second master degree in Civilizational Studies, Alliance of Civilizations Graduate School, IHU. He is active with a number of international organizations, media networks, and newspaper on youth policy and leadership, regional politics, and international relations. He is the director of International Office, Ibn Haldun University in Turkey. He has recently been elected as the Secretary General of International Islamic Federation of Student Organizations, the umbrella body of Muslim youth and student organizations across the world since 1969, a non-governmental organization with UN status since 1977. So please help me welcome Mr. Enes Yauman as the Secretary General of IIFSO.
Thank
Are
you
you
very
there,
much.
mister? Okay, take it
Can you
away.
hear me?
Time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Dina. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, first of all, I would like to wish Bulan Ramadan Berkah to all of you. And since we didn't break our fast, so Salman Mubarakan, and then you had your Tarawih, as I have heard from the social media that you have managed this program after Tarawih. So this is another pandemic situation that we live, which is nice to see people from different around the world, from different zones and from different timings. First of all, I would like to thank the OIC Youth Indonesia for inviting me here to speak about a very challenging topic today, which is promoting activism and solidarity. And it's impossible to speak about it in 10 or 15 minutes, but I will try my best to give my comments in it, inshallah. So first of all, I would like to thank also Sister Nadia, and I can see a lot of friends over here, Ms. Tuba Jaran, and also my old friend Tantan, and it's very nice to see you, Dr. Johnny, here with us today. So when we speak about, when I have been asked to speak about the youth activism, I should have seen my own experience or others' experience, or what are the mistakes or what are faults that we have been in, so we can advise, so we can push the other youth not to be in or not to re-practice the same mistakes. So I will try to sum up it with very like a few points that we can extract it later on, but as a main point is that what we can do as youth to be activists. And what are we meaning actually by activism? It doesn't mean the protests. It doesn't mean also only to be part of protests or walking or going for change, doing without understanding the meaning of reality of the change and all. So I would like to start with the basement of what can youth do actually for the activism. And I think one of the major issues, one of the main issues that we cannot pass is the education that should be parallelly with any active work that a youth can do. So activists without knowledge is like million without one. It's zero, because knowledge without knowledge, it can be leading to a lot of mistakes, to a lot of extremism, to a lot of mistakes that can affect our own ummah in a wrong way. So education and education and education. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that for all of us. He said in the hadith, "Utlub al-ilma min al-mahdi ila al-lahd." Seek the knowledge from cradle to grave. So there is education doesn't mean we have to go to school or to university or to have to take part of institutions. Education is to get knowledge, as long as you are alive. And then I'd like to add to this that we are youth as long as we are alive, inshallah. So the education is a must, but how we can guide the students, how we can guide the youth and educated youth to be really leaders of their own aims. In fact, being active is being a leader for their own aims, which means that if you don't give that youth or that young sister or a brother the position to be part of any movement or part of any work or part of any organization, then you cannot give them that responsibility. I still can remember my first time when I was being in the university, and they gave me the tag, the name tag they gave in the conferences, and they written on it ushers, or those people who receive people in the conferences, or they say hi to people. It was changing my life when I see that responsibility, that position gave to me. It gives me that responsibility. Oh, this organization is trusting me to be an usher at the door of the conference event to welcome people. This is my responsibility, and I take over and work on it and do how we can do it in the best way. And this is one of the main, I think, missing factors of our modern time of youth activists, because people are working for the positions. but while we should start with the position to be leading. So the position is something we have to get it in the basement. What I mean by position, it doesn't mean only a job position, because I believe that youth, while they are getting the knowledge, while they're doing the activists, are part of volunteerism at any time. Because when someone is volunteering, he believes in something that can give the whole energy of his or her energy to that work. While if you go for a professional work, which something should be there, but you give the least energy to finish that job because you're getting paid for it. So this is a big difference that we need to take to the youth before they get to the professional job, to get into the volunteerism and being active by choosing the right path for youth and giving them that positions in different organizations. So the position is one of the main issues that we should trust the youth, giving them the jobs to do stuff. You be this, you be that, and then you carry this position, and we trust you in this and we trust you in that. The second major issue is, if you build that positions, one of the main things is the establishment of any foundations is the relations, is the relations that you're gonna build on that position. Today we have this program. Tomorrow we're going to have another programs. And I think, and as I have said to the Indonesian teams when they visited me in Istanbul, and thankfully, I was honored to receive them. I believe that Indonesia is a kind of people, of a population that are major factors of changing the whole ummah, of making the whole ummah. What I mean by change is making it to better. It doesn't mean changing, doesn't mean you are right, you are going to left, or you are up, you're going down. No, if you're going towards, and changing is making it faster, is making it stronger, is making it better. So I believe that Indonesian youth are taking a very big part of that. And so that relations, today you meet in this conference. Unfortunately, we are doing this, the online programs, but it still works. The network of people that you're gonna do out of those activism and work. Today, I know Dr. Johnny, I know, Tantan. Tomorrow, I'm gonna introduce to Suji, I'm gonna introduce to, Shakia, I'm gonna do Abdurrahman, I'm gonna do Surami. So these kind of relations that we should introduce to each other. There is no borders. There are no borders between Turkey and Indonesia, since I'm sitting in front of you and you're sitting in front of the PC and seeing each and everyone. So these borders are open now. So we should use an open network to build that strong relations, and don't think that any youth can share her own aim is getting to lose it, because sharing throughout these relations is one of the strongest, is the thing that gives the strength, the momentum to your work, is to build that relations and to share with others. It's not wrong to share with others what you are going to do, because with sharing, that will be very much strong. But let me put a point over here, because I have very, short time. Let me put a point over here. If you have an organization, if you have a work that you do, if you have a company, if you are active in a place, if you are active in a political party or political system, and you say, this is our logo, this is our website, this is our visions, this is our missions, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. These are our members, these are our relations. But if I ask you one question, let's take an example for a humanitarian organization that goes to help neglected people. And then you go for here, and then you ask, the name is very nice, the logo is very nice. The people that are volunteering there, they are very good workers. But when you ask them, wait a minute, I wanna ask you one question. You have a very good positions, you have a very good relations, but what we're doing, how many people are you reaching? Well, in fact, didn't start thinking about it. Then I have to tell you there is a mistake. There is a path wrong in taking care about relations and being networks and overall, and stucking there, because it will be a sad, a depressing, endless loop if you go for only relations and starting to do networks and networks and networks. Networks to a level that you need to start to produce. If you don't produce, no matter what you do, you cannot be counted as an activist, as an activism in your area. You have to produce something. If you are doing work for neglected people, you have to reach number of people. You have to let people know how many people that you're reaching. You have to, if you are in a company, to tell how much production you are making out of the company. If you are in a political party, you have to show how much work that you do for your own society. You have to do like, so the production is an ad that the youth should feel to their society. Nevertheless, here is one, I should end with this point, is very important thing is producing is adding to the society, but that's not enough for us. Our world, a rapid change in the world doesn't wait for the adding to the society. We need to re-add to the society. What I mean by re-adding to the society is we need to pass to the production to be reproduced. I'm going to give you a small example for about a sport. If you are a good, a basketball player and then you can score very well, then you are doing an actively sport person that you're doing your own job. That's enough? No. We said that you have to trust others, giving them the trust how to teach others to do the work. Here, you can ask someone else to come and watch you while you are scoring. And secondly, you need to come and tell him, come with me and let's score together. And number 3, you go score and I will be with you. And number 4, you score and I will only watching you. Here is the mistakes that our organizations do when we reproduce people. We should say, you go and score and ask someone else to watch you. Here, you are out of that loop, and then you started to multiply, adding to the society rather than being only addition to the society. This is the part of leadership that I believe that someone, an active person, should have that path, should have that position, should have that relations, should have that production, should lead others to reproduce in the same aim. I put dots here, and I hope to have the question and answer sessions to go further for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Elnes Shalman. So the points that Mr. Elnes Shalman says that being youth is not only like being protest or like something like that, but we have to know that education is really important here. That get education is not only like going to school, but you can get education is like by your own and your aim. So being a leadership is really great here too, and like building your positions and relationship between a lot of people and make many people to you reaching out. So this is really, really great message, Mr. Enes Yauman. So jadi Mr. Elnes Shalman bilang bahwasanya kita itu sebagai sebagai pemuda kita jangan hanya protes-protes, tapi kita juga harus memperbaiki diri kita harus educate diri kita dengan baik, dan kita juga harus belajar menjadi leader yang bagus. Kita juga harus belajar membangun posisi kita di masyarakat, bagaimana kita untuk reach out everyone to be a better youth in the future. Okay, thank you. So the next speaker is Mr. Abdur Rahman Omokunmi Olalekan as Executive Director of YMGCP. And I would like to introduce Mr. Abdur Rahman. So Mr. Abdur Rahman graduated from University of Ilorin, Kwara State, 2015, and graduated from Nigerian Law Schools, 2018, and right now is a legal associate at Royal Crystal Airways Limited, Executive Director, Young Minds for Good Stewardships, Community Peace Building, and Case Researchers and Motions Respond Virtual Assistance. So welcome, Mr. Abdurrahman. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, of all creatures in the time of creation, no one spread our life to this present moment. We praise Him, we adore Him, we glorify Him, and we acknowledge His mercy on us. We praise Him to continue to gather ourselves. I want to say Ramadan Kareem to everyone. And before I proceed, I would like to appreciate the organizers of this program for inviting me to see one of these things here. I think that's a privilege. Thank you very much for the opportunity. The topic for me this afternoon is promoting activism and solidarity among Muslims in OIC member states, Muslim youth in OIC member states. Everybody can hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, fine. I should continue, right?
Yeah, sure. Please.
Thank you very much. Okay, when we look into this topic, the keywords that we need to examine are one, activism, solidarity, and youth, and at the same time, OIC, the meaning of OIC. So firstly, what is activism? Well, according to English dictionary, activism means the practice of using action to achieve results. But the question that comes to mind is, what results do we want to achieve? It's very, very important. So we must firstly define the results that we intend to achieve at the end of the day. And when we talk about practice of using action, what do we mean by action? What action are we talking about? Do we mean going out to make noise, going out to stop blogs, to agitate for one thing or the other? Well, it all depends. But I feel the best activism we can engage ourselves in, intellectual activism. Firstly, we need to acquire the necessary knowledge. We need to be up to standard. I mean, acquire the necessary knowledge to be able to dispense when the time arrives for you to do such. So the first means of the first action to be taken as youth is for us to strive as much as we can within our reach to acquire as much as we can as far as knowledge is concerned. That's the most important and essential thing. My brother that earlier talked about education, the importance of education. Of course, we cannot underestimate the importance of education if we want to achieve anything. So the first activism I feel, or that I think is important for us is to acquire the necessary knowledge to lead not only ourselves, not only our family, but even to lead the society, the community, and the world as well as we find ourselves. And how do we live? How do we get this knowledge? It is important. When we acquire the Western education, which is the dominant education today to lead our lives in every society we find ourselves, it's very, very essential we acquaint ourselves with the Islamic knowledge that guides us. You know, Western world will only teach us in the world how to achieve things in this our current world. But the Islamic knowledge will guide your affairs, will guide your steps, day-to-day activity, particularly leaders. So it is on us as Muslim youth for us to look into the life of the previous leaders of the Sahaba, of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He lived within others that are pagans, some are Christians within his time, and they lived peacefully. How was he able to manage these things? How was he able to manage the people, the resources within his bounds, and all these are essential knowledge, not just the educational knowledge we're talking about here. So the first activism, the first step of activism we should take as youth is what? To acquire the necessary knowledge. The foundational knowledge is that of Islam, particularly the Quran, understanding the tenets of Islam, because this will guide yourself after acquiring the Western education how to implement them. It will tell you the boundaries upon which you should go and which one you should not go. It will guide you as to how to rule the people if you have the opportunity. Because as an Islamic leader, we look into the life of Umar ibn al-Khattab, you can see how he ruled. So acquiring this knowledge is very, very essential for us to have a just society. And if you remember, the primary objective of any Islamic society is what? Is to have just al-adli, as Allah has prescribed in the glorious Quran. So it is on us, and it's a fact that where there is justice, peace is bound to reign. Progress and development are inevitable. So the number one thing is what? Our activism. Our activism must be in the area of searching for knowledge. Not just the Western education knowledge, but the Islamic knowledge. How did I do that? Our past leaders, Sahaba, how do they rule? Secondly, we also have solidarity. When we talk about solidarity, what's solidarity? Well, with the definition out there, it means a bond of unity or agreement between individuals united around common goals or against common enemy. Fine, I said initially that Activism is a practice of using action to achieve a result. The result is nothing but the goal. And here again in solidarity, we are talking about common goals. So solidarity is coming together of some set of persons to achieve a common goal. So the first question that comes to mind is, what is the goal? Number one. So for whatever thing we want to do, whatever thing we want to achieve, we must firstly set a goal. So what's the goal? OIC. What is the goal of OIC? And ICYL. What's the goal of ICYL? So we must firstly know, upon knowing our goal, we will now set some standards across the goals to ensure the goals are achieved. So our common goal. Our common goal is to achieve a just society. Is to achieve a society where everyone is better off and everyone is peace off. So a society where everyone has his rights, everyone is entitled to his or her own rights. That's our whole goal. That's our ultimate objective. Fine, if that's the case, then our activities should surround this goal, which is our common goal of achieving a just society. I think that's the peak of any society you can find yourself. Justice, because what? Justice breeds all other things. Justice brings about peace. Justice brings about development. Justice brings about love. Justice brings unity. When there is no justice, when I feel you are cheating me or you are taking advantage of me, of course, forget about it. I cannot like naturalize. And where there is no love, there's bound to be rancor, and which will bring about underdevelopment. So it's very, very important. That's something we need to look into. And the third thing I have here is youth. Who are you? Now, according to United Nations, with the agreement in 1905, youth are categorized as people within 15 to 24 years. Arab world or Arab states, they see youth as people within the age circle of 15 to 29. While according to the African Youth Report of 2009, they classify youth as people within 15 to 39 years. While the European Commission have programs that encompass youth within the age of 13 to 30. Now, that's different age circles which would have youth. Islamically, who are you? Obviously, if you look into the several school of thought, what determines you is what? Is the age. It's not a matter of age, it's the body and the understanding, maturity age. You can say one of the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, that he commanded that whenever a child is of 10 years old, he should be enforced to pray salah. Because at that point in time, he must have been having the normal reasoning. So at that point, he is bound to engage in the Islamic affairs and then to do the right. Because even come prior to that, they become mature. So what determines youth is what? Age of maturity. And maturity differs. The conditions that determine maturity. Someone wants to talk about you. We need to look into the mature state of the person. So we have people of 9 years old that become mature. That's part of youth. People of even 8. We have the Maliki school of thought that says a child of 9, if he exhibits the maturity sign, fine, the youth already. So the youth should not be determined by the age, but by what? By our action, by maturity that we exhibit, which is very, very essential. So as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't limit. Okay, fine. I wouldn't limit youth to that. So youth really, it's determined by maturity. While the limit to have our age for youth is, I think it's 40 years, because it is said in the glorious Quran that a child is still within the bounds of the parents until he attains the age of 40, which is the age at which he can do things on this. So let's move on. OIC, Organization of Islamic States, I think according to we have 66 number of countries under it, and we have several others. Now, to the bone of contention, how do we promote activism and solidarity? We have said the first thing in promoting solidarity or activism among member states within the youth is education. Education is a factor that takes people from state of ignorance to what? The state of knowledge. So when people are duly informed about the situation of things, they are bound to be well acquainted with how things ought to be done in the society. So education is very, very essential. And how do we achieve this? I'm focusing my point to OIC, I mean ICYF and OIC, who are organizing this program. What are the measures we need to put in place to ensure activism and solidarity within Muslim youth in OIC member states. You know, we have up to 56 states, as we have said, and it is on a rare occasion we have programs that bring us together. And even considering Nigeria now, I think we have about, let's say, the population of Nigeria, we have, I think 42% at least, if not more than that. So imagine, okay, let's say out of the 43%, and we are over 200 million, let's say 100 million are youth. Out of 100 million, maybe let's say, okay, 40 million are Muslims. So how do we reach out to this 40 million youth? How do we do this? Fine. The first thing I would do is, fine, we have been doing some programs that are very interesting. We have representatives in each country, which is very, very essential. So I will advise that it is onus on each representative to probably create a platform where youth can at least register themselves as members. They first really need to attach themselves to this organization. Okay, after attaching, we have our own goal, which is to enlighten youth about activities going on in the world. And do we have programs already on ground? I would advise to create courses, short courses.
Mr. Abdur,
huh?
so we just have 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is my time up? Okay. I will round up. Thank you very much. So the point I'm making are this: one, we should try and create a platform where we can bring youth together. For instance, now we have youth in different areas of expertise. So if we can bring youth together from like a platform where they can register, we have the details, their data. And from that data, we can easily say, oh, this one has expertise in this area. We can make use of their human resource in our areas. That's one. Secondly, we can have these international organizations, international bodies, where this expertise can be put to use. Internship opportunities for all these youth, where they can explore the opportunities. And at the end of the day, they might get their way out. Because one of the challenges affecting youth these days is unemployment. It's very, very high. So if we must solve the problem of solidarity activism, we must firstly put something on the table of the youth. Because where there's nothing, you do not expect something from it. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I feel in these areas, we must ensure activism, solidarity. We must firstly bring the youth together under one umbrella, create a platform where we can actually mingle, rub minds, where we can exchange ideas. So even it will be bad, we can have the Telegram group for OIC member states that have youth. It's fine. At least I feel a Telegram group can accept up to 10,000 or even more. So that's a platform of bringing it from there. We can rub minds, we can share ideas, and we can get things right. So to a very large extent, I think these are the things I have for us to ensure we can bring ourselves together and achieve the goals. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for Mr. Abdurrahman. That was just really great message to all of youth here that we not only like focus for educations, but also knowledge, also actions and activity also is that we have to convert that educations to actions. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdurrahman. So the next speaker, pembicara selanjutnya adalah Mr. Ibrahim Fahmi, selaku Chairman PP Pemuda PUI. Kepada Mr. Ibrahim Fahmi dipersilahkan.
Baik, I'm from PP Pemuda Persatuan Islam.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, and I was supposed to have one.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, can you hear me, Miss Dina Octavia?
Sure. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm from PP Pemuda Persatuan Islam, not PUI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, alhamdulillah ala ni'matillah asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. The Honorable Ms. Tuba Sersi, Director of International Project at ICYF, Dr. Hussein Kasiri, ASEAN Board Member ICYF and Youth Consultancy, the Honorable Senior Advisor to Minister of Youth and Sport, Republik Indonesia, Mr. Dr. Joni Mardizal, President of ICYF, Mr. Toha Aihan, Chairman of Indonesia, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, and President of OIC Youth Indonesia, Ms. Astrid Nadia Rizkita. And all distinguished speakers whom I respect, Mr. Enes Yalman, Secretary General of IIFSO, Mr. Abdurrahman Al-Ustad, Executive Director YMCCV, Mr. Abdul Razak Nasution as Chairman of Hima Waslia, and my brothers, Mr. Kana Kurniawan, Chairman PP Pemuda PUI. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala protect us as always. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ibrahim Nasruha Al-Fahmi, General Chairman of the Islamic Association Youth of Pemuda Persatuan Islam, shortened Pemuda Persis. As one of the oldest Islamic youth organization in Indonesia, Pemuda Persis has been established since 1936 in Bandung, always trying to be present and contribute in the movement of the Indonesian Islamic Youth Agenda. We are honored to be invited to this discussion forum organized by OIC Youth Indonesia with the title Promoting Activism and Solidarity Among Muslim Youth. We thank you for the invitation and attention. Whereas only 6 days ago, we held the grand event of our organization 5 years agenda in electing the General Chairman of PP Pemuda Persis. Our 13th National Congress, Muktamar in Bandung. So technically, I'm the new elect chairman. Okay, dear my fellow brother and sister, speaking of Islamic youth, it is a certainly important element in the development of civilized society, full of peace and prosperous life with Islamic values. Therefore, the theme behind our recent National Congress was Teladan Pembangun Peradaban, the role model and the framers of civilization. This theme becomes a shared vision in our organization because to achieve our organizational goals requires a good exemplary mentality. Therefore, we really need to create as many youth figures as possible who have integrity towards the religion, nation, and country. Preparing the accepted Muslim youth, of course, it cannot be done alone. We must build communication and collaboration with various parties who have the same vision and interest to the realization of exemplary youth who build civilization, who are always ready to present Islam rahmatan lil alamin. About a question, what is the best approach to growing youth activist mentalism? We believe that the best approach to cultivate the mentalism of Islamic youth activists in the first strengthen Tawhid. The young man who has strong belief about Tawhidullah will have a good mentality and it drives him to way of thinking and action that can benefit anyone as a result of the pure of faith. As Allah has said in the Surah Ibrahim verse 24 until 25. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Alam tara kaifa daraballahu mathalan kalimatan thayyibah kasyajaratin thayyibatin asluha thabitu wa far'uha fis sama tu'ti ukulaha kulla hinin bi'idzni rabbiha wa yadribullahu al-amthala linnas la'allahum yatadhakkarun. As Ibn Kathir explanation that kalimat thayyibah means a testimony that there is no God but Allah, and kasyajarah thayyibah means people who believe. Meanwhile, asluha thabitun means that the sentence La ilaha illallah is attached in the heart of a believer. And farwaha fis sama means the action of believers who are accepted by heaven because La ilaha illallah. A young man who has good understanding and strength of faith will always display good and beneficial behavior, like a tree that produces sweet fruit that is always awaited in every season. And second, in the strengthening of knowledge, a good literacy is very important for Muslim youth in building their mentality, so that the knowledge that is mastered can always help implement faith in action that are relevant to the situation and challenges of the time. In the context of knowledge development, we are fully aware that today's globalization era has its own opportunities and challenges for youth. The advancement, the technology, and the abundance of information give opportunities for Muslim youth to increase and improve their capabilities as an Islamic Dawah activist. Today, it is easy for young people to access knowledge that is relevant to the needs of their preaching activities. The books of previous scholars to the writing of contemporary scholars that are easy to find. Likewise, the analysis of scientists whose research result can help in revitalizing the values of the Al-Quran and As-Sunnah as a solution to the problem of life today. However, the easy access and information today needs to be managed well so that Muslim youths do not take wrong information that will affect the way they think and act. So what is feared is the emergence of behavior that do not help the existence of Islam. Their actions are even harmful to their own religion and endanger the surrounding community. The third is the involvement of youth in the human resource development agenda. Youth should be given more opportunities to participate in the development agenda in order to have a good experience before it is time for the youth to go directly to managing the community. In the next few years, in the context of Indonesia, we will get a demographic bonus, which means that the composition of Indonesian society will be filled with youth or a productive workforce. Here is the problem. If we are not serious in making effort to develop human resources, then we will lose this great opportunity, which in the contrary will become a backfire. Each related element must always be present to guard the lead of young people be providing provision in the form of strong faith, civilized behavior, noble knowledge, and high productivity, so that this bonus do not turn into calamities or a blaze with a curse. To manage the abundance of human resources in this demographic bonds, cooperation between youth organization and local government must be established. Youth should be given the wider possible opportunity to be involved in managing their generation as well as society in general. Government programs, especially related ministries, must be oriented toward developing the quality of youth resources. For example, the first scholarship program for youth organization activists. And then Islamic youth leadership training. And third, youth empowerment and training programs based on social problems, such as training in the peaceful mediation and conflict resolution or other social issues. Fourth, training programs and creative economy development based on local potential. And fifth, programs to increase youth political participation. So, brother and sister, And next question, what factor must be stressed so that they spread quickly, and the best way to evaluate it? To accelerate the strengthening of the mentality of youth activists, we think that should be more dialogue and cooperation between Islamic youth organization and with the government, so that later we can learn from each other's experience and inspiration from each organization in our activities. It can be in the form of a consortium or such. In addition, we must have a joint project in building and maintaining the mentality of Islamic youth activists, especially in Indonesia, so that every organization are not working solitary and all parties feel they have the same responsibility or sense of belonging. And the question, what should an OIC member do to see the fading mentality of activists in the youth? Firstly, what OIC can do is formulate youth development indicators based on the objectives of the establishment of the OIC, and OIC members carry out development effort towards local Muslim youth so that they have a good index in the development of Islamic youth. Secondly, OIC members carry out a campaign related to the importance of digital literacy for Muslim youth with a more creative packaging and attracting the attention of youth. This campaign uses multilingualism, especially using the language of each country, so that there are no obstacles for youth with limited language proficiency levels. And throughout the session, I will be accompanied by my companion as a translator so that our ideas in the discussion tonight can be conveyed properly. He is my best friend, Mr. Rudy Suherman, SPDM Hum. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Rudy.
Oke, waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, he's a member of Pemuda Persis and the secretary of the English Education Department at the Persatuan Islam University, or UNIPI. It is our hope that in the future, OIC Youth Indonesia and all the speakers can work together with our proud university. Okay, brother and sister, that is all I can say. Thank you for your attention. Allahu yakhudhu bi'aidina ila ma fihi khairun lil Islam wal muslimin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim from PP Pemuda Persis. So the conclusion is like just because the young people that have globalizations, kita terdampak globalisasi, tapi kita jangan terlalu involved dan merasa bahwasanya itu adalah hambatan kita untuk improve in Islamic dakwah, dan juga tadi Bapak Ibrahim juga bilang bahwasanya harus adanya youth empowerment, youth development, dan campaign digital juga, campaign digital literacy. Jadi youth have contributions to develop the campaign itself. So thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim.
You're welcome.
Okay. The next speaker is Dr. Kana Kurniawan, but unfortunately that Dr. Kana Kurniawan cannot attend this meeting because of ada hal lain yang harus dikerjakan. So without further ado, we have to go to the next speakers. Mr. Abdul Razak Nasution, the chairman of PP Himah Al-Wasilah, and so Bapak Abdul Razak Nasution lahir di Tanjung Medan 11 Januari 1991 dan pendidikannya S1 UMN Al-Wasilah Medan tahun 2015, S2 USU Medan 2018 sampai dengan sekarang, dan pengalaman organisasinya sebagai sekretaris PK Hima FKIP UMN Al-Wasliyah Medan 2010, Sekjen PEMA atau BEM UMN Al-Wasliyah Medan 2012 sampai 2011 sampai 2012. Kemudian juga Ketua Umum PP Hima 2021 sampai 2024. That's all about Mr. Abdul Razak Nasution, and please welcome and the team's reviewer. Hello.
Halo, yes.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Speakersnya. Tolong di unmute itunya Pak, speakernya. Tolong di unmute speakernya Pak, di unmute ya, biar terdengar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Qala Allahu fil kitabil Qur'anil Karim. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min adabin alim. Tu'minuna billahi wa rasulihi wa tujahiduna fi sabilillah bi amwalikum wa anfusikum dzalikum khairul lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. Shadaqallahul azim. Para hadirin yang saya muliakan, I just want to say the role of Muslim youth in Indonesian history as is well known. Islam is a teaching that regulates almost all aspects of life, including aspects of the life of the nation and state. Islam teaches its followers not only to love their religion, but also to their homeland. In the history of Indonesia, the role of Muslim youth cannot be doubted. In the era of independence, the youths whose enthusiasm were driven by the clergy to the battlefield to expel the invaders from the country, even took the head to sacrifice their soul and bodies. The struggle of Muslim youth can even be traced back to the pre-colonial, colonial and post-independence era, when colonialism no longer exists. The role of Muslim youth contributes to the development and progress of the nation and state. The role of youth in today's development, the challenge of today are of course different from the past. Indonesia is currently experiencing ups and downs of problems with economics, social, legal justice, corruption, and various immoral practice that hinder development. In fact, Indonesia's past economic resources are not evenly distributed. Another problem faced by many young people is the large number unemployed people. Ideally, Indonesia, with its large natural resources and economic opportunities, should be sufficient for employment needs.
in an effort to resolve these problems. The role of Muslim youth very much needed. In short, Muslim youth must play a role in solving the nation's problems by always adhering to the values of Islamic teachings. Islam is the majority religion in Indonesia, so it has great people power, potential to change the direction of the country's development. Youth Islam is not just Islam with Islam KTP, who was born in Indonesia, but should be able to make Islamic teachings a foundation in their life when they truly appreciate and practice the teaching of Muslim. The noble character possessed by Muslim youth can eliminate harmful immoral attitudes such as the practice of KKN. A Muslim youth must also have a good leading sector ability. To be able to reach this level requires professionalism, self-integrity, attitude, and fighting. Nation building must be used as a nation building process by educating the public to be able to ensure the development process to achieve the vision of being the best nation or people. Muslim youth must be able to fight to uphold the truth in Indonesia. Today's Islamic youth can also be a reflection of a strong people and can advance Indonesia's development with the morals taught by the Prophet. A young man must be a driving force for the good of his surroundings. Start with small things such as alms. Come on, help mobilize kindness by building mosques in remote part of the archipelago. Sekian yang dapat saya sampaikan. Terima kasih. Saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Presiden OIC, Miss Astrid Nadia Rizkita, Ibrahim Fahmi, Ketua Pemuda Persis, sahabat Dr. Kana Kurniawan, Abdurrahman, Executive Director of YMGCP, dan saudara saya, Tantan Taufik Lubis. Ini sama-sama apa ini? Orang Batak. Saya Nasution, ya Lubis kan? Salam kenal, saya Abdul Razak Nasution, Ketua Umum PP Himah Al-Wasliyah. Ketua Tantan Taufik Lubis, Chairman of Indonesia New York City. Terakhir yang ingin saya sampaikan adalah selamat menunaikan ibadah Ramadan 1442 Hijriah. Semoga Ramadan kali ini mari kita jadikan momentum strategis dalam rangka istiqomah dalam ketaatan kita kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala, bukan hanya bulan ini. Arena ini merupakan bulan-bulan di mana kita ke depan harus istiqomah sebagaimana tujuan hidup kita, yaitu beribadah kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Nasrum minal fatum qarib wa basyiril mu'minin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih kepada Bapak Abdul Razak Nasution. It was a really great speech, which is that as a young people, we have a really great potentials to change the world, but kita jangan hanya jadi implementasikan Islam itu jangan hanya Islam KTP, tapi kita harus direfleksikan dari attitude kita dan juga knowledge kita itu sendiri gitu. Oke, dengan berakhirnya penyampaian dari Bapak Abdul Razak Nasution, so berakhir juga sesi kita hari ini. But we have Q&A sessions. Jadi for all people that want to ask a question to our speakers, boleh tulis di chat apa yang ingin ditanyakan atau any questions from participants? Jadi boleh ditanya ke speakers. And I will read it. Any questions? Atau boleh juga tanya langsung dengan raise hand. Apa ada pertanyaan? Oke.
Boleh nanya satu?
Ya, silakan.
Yeah. I would like to ask to all the speakers tonight about the youth pragmatism. How the Islamic youth in every continent in the world become a pragmatism generation. He leave the idealism and make some cooperation with despotic regime, and then he did nothing to empowering the youth in the region, in its country. I think it is the small question from me. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That was a really great questions. And for the first speakers, that Mr. Anas Yaman want to answer the questions about the pragmatism of youth itself.
Well, thank you very much for this question. I think, I mean, this approach, the pragmatism, it's a really important when we are, you know, considering only the idealism in our practices, which is, I think, in my opinion, is not right. Idealism and positivism and feminism and all the ideologies that our theories in our knowledge have are missing something, which is Islamic. Islamic is, as Ghazali mentions, maratib al-ulum, is something that puts all the actions together, all the maratib al-ulum, all the levels of knowledge together, and taking, there is a very nice saying in Arabic, خُذْ مَا صَفَى دَعْ مَا كَدَرَ. So we cannot, in our actions, neglect what is Western and take only what is Islamic, or neglect all what is Islamic and take only what is Eurocentric. So what we need is kind of action that is independently for youth, that can manage the balance between all the theories, and then also adding how can, as Muslims, we can go actionly with that. So the multiplexity that we have in those levels is the solution for this kind of pragmatism. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anas Yaman, for the answers. So it means that as a youth that we have to be independent, kita harus mandiri, dan kita harus punya our own principles. So yeah, that's why that we have our own aim to do everything that we want. Selanjutnya, the question is all four of the speakers. Jadi semuanya bisa menjawab. Okay, Mr. Abdurrahman Omukunmi, want to answer the questions about pragmatism? Hello? Okay, I think Mr. Abdurrahman is not available right now. So the next one, Mr. Ibrahim Fahmi, want to answer the questions?
Oke, nanti saya dibantu translator ya.
Okay.
Baik, pragmatisme yang menjangkiti aktivis muda Islam di Indonesia ataupun di seluruh dunia. Pertama kita bisa melihat bahwa jika pragmatisme ini adalah bagian dari proud, kebanggaan untuk dirinya, ya, maka tentu ini adalah satu hal yang sangat merusak kepada cita-cita dari dakwah pemuda itu sendiri. Nah, sesuatu yang harus dihilangkan dari diri seorang pemuda adalah menghilangkan ketergantungan kepada orang lain dan kemudian tetap menggantungkan sesuatu hal, kebutuhannya, kepentingannya kepada Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala dan kemampuan dirinya. Menurut saya sementara itu.
Yeah. Jadi, I think the answer is a little bit seems with Mr. Enes Yalman, that as a youth that we have to depend on ourselves, that we have our own values, that we have to separate. And yeah, I think it's a little bit same. So I think there is the next questions here. Wait.
Question, Ms. Moderator.
How to empower Islamic youth in the post-COVID era and 2.0 disruptions revolution industry? Okay. Mr. Enes Yaman want to answer the questions?
Okay, I don't know if the question is forwarded to me, but anyway, I can put my input. COVID-19, well, first of all, we as Muslims, we believe that everything given by Allah is khair. So sometimes we like عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم. Sometimes you like something, but it's not good for you. And sometimes you hate, you don't like something, and it's khair for you. So I strongly, if we have belief in God, if we have belief in the faith of Allah, we believe that the COVID is a turn, is a turn for the whole world. But as ourselves, as our youth, and just to guide it for the questions, is the COVID itself, it made us think what we can do next. Because if you know that first 6 months of whole world were puzzled, where we're just waiting what is going to next, what is going to happen. But now the whole world used to now to implement and to get in track with the COVID itself. So I'm talking about, let's say, education online, how we can do the online education better, how we can reach out the whole youth through our online connections together and faster and stronger and better than others. So there are something, I mean, I'm not avoiding, I'm not, belittling, let's say, printing books, or let's say sending brochures, or let's say talking physically. But of course, the COVID taught us that it's never, the physical meetings will never be like avoiding our reality to meet. Like, let's say after COVID, if everything's solved and then we need to meet somewhere else in a conference in the United States, or in Indonesia, or in Morocco, or in anywhere in the world. So those people who can come, they will come, and then they will be good for networking and others. But those who cannot come, we actually have now the way how to connect people online, how to be with those people, how still we can reach out them through our social media. But here is the dangerous thing is now the social media is like a knife. It's like you can do a salad with it, but also you can kill someone with it. So we need to be carefully having the awareness, having the training how to use the social media, how to react to what's happening in the social media, especially in the online as you can see from the whole politics of the whole world now, it's moving and shaking by the social media. So this is very important point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Enes Yalman. Intinya dengan kondisi yang sekarang ini, that we have to blaming everything. Kita harus lihat dampak positifnya juga. Biasanya kita konferensi itu ke luar negeri, konferensi itu ke like around the world, and right now that we can connect to people online, that's really really cheap. Dan itu juga bisa untuk engage us to other people. Jadi kita tuh lebih social media itu lebih ke dampak positifnya juga. Dan like education right now, walaupun kita terhambat oleh COVID, tapi kan we can doing online, how to make this online to be better, and everything just changed, so we need to adapt. The next questions.
Well, sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
Ms. Moderator. I think the question is addressed to all speakers.
Okay.
So it will be wise for us to give the chance for other speaker to answer the question.
Okay. So Mr. Abdurrahman want to answer? Mr. Abdurrahman available? Okay. Okay. Mr. Abdurrazak Nasution want to answer the questions? Okay, there is, I think it's not available also. So I think we have to move to the next question. I think this is the last questions, I guess. Okay, it's from Abu Bakar. What should be our niyyah and drive according to Islam about empowering youth? And what important rule did the young companions of Prophet Muhammad play, and how can we relate? Yes. So there's a question from Abu Bakar. Mr. Enes Yaman want to answer?
Okay. So the intention is very important. Thank you for putting this question with the intention, because without intention, things are not, reflect in the real. And educated people can feel the others, whether they are intentionally doing good or not. But the important role of young companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we read the seerah, if we see the seerah, the young people were always, the first thing comes to our mind is the patience, sabr. So the companions were very patient, and also were very motivated, and also they were very, very much believing in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in Islam. So if we want to compare the today's youth with the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do we have the same patience? Do we have the same belief in God? Do we have the same challenge to do more and more and do the best of us? The example of the ants that is carrying the water for our Ibrahim alayhi salam is the life changer story in our life. It doesn't mean, like, because our youth nowadays, they have this, let's say, let's say they are depressed about, we cannot change everything. Who asked you to change everything? So in my personality, in my ability, in my limitation, if that was in my work, if that was in my education, in school, it was in my family, it was my during in a group of friends or in organization, what's the best change that I can do? So it's not about the changing the whole world by yourself, but imagine the whole youth of whole Muslim world are having the same passion to do what is on them, what's the best they can do out of energy and power. So I think if we can compare the companions of Rasulullah with the today's youth in terms of patience, in terms of faith and belief, I think we can do a lot of things that can raise this ummah to a very strong level, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for the answer, Mr. Enes Yalman. Mr. Ibrahim wanna answer the questions? So the question is about the one important role that the young companions of Prophet Muhammad play and how we can relate to them today.
Sorry. Oke, sedikit saja tentang bagaimana kita membangun niat untuk melakukan pemberdayaan pemuda. Yang pertama harus membangun kesadaran bahwa diri kita memiliki tanggung jawab, ya, tanggung jawab untuk menyebarkan dakwah Islam itu sendiri. Jadi kuntum khairu ummah ukhrijat linnas. Bagaimana Allah Subhanahu wa taala telah mentakdirkan kita sebagai manusia yang terbaik. Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar. Kita diperintahkan untuk melakukan amar ma'ruf dan juga mencegah orang-orang melakukan perbuatan munkar. Jika kesadaran kita terbangun dan keimanan kita hadir terhadap perintah ini, tentu niat dalam melakukan pemberdayaan pemuda ataupun at-tadrij, ya, pemberdayaan pemuda hakikatnya adalah bagaimana kita menegakkan izah Islam di muka bumi. Kemudian bagaimana agar kemudian kita relate dengan kehidupan para sahabat dan Nabi Muhammad SAW adalah bagaimana kita senantiasa menghidupkan sunnah-sunnahnya. Kalau kita hari ini ingin relate berhubungan dengan apa yang dilakukan oleh para sahabat dan Nabi Muhammad, sementara sunnah-sunnah Nabi tidak kita hidupkan, maka jangan harap kita akan senantiasa terhubung, bahkan tidak akan ada keterhubungan dengan generasi manapun ketika sunnah-sunnah Nabi itu ditinggalkan. Demikian, Miss Dina.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. So thank you. So the answer is about that we have to follow our prophets, like the behavior also is that the spirit to change everything and to change the world also, that we have to embed that behavior to ourselves. I think that's the last questions karena udah habis pertanyaannya, so the session is finished. So jadi I wanna give a conclusions about this sessions and this topics today about the solidarity of the youth, and I think that the solidarity itself is really needs for youth participations, initiative, and like we have to connect to each other, and also that we have to, like what Mr. Enes Yalman says, that as a youth we don't have to only like protest, but we have to educate ourselves to be a leader, to change the real world. So before we change the world, that we have to change ourselves first, that we have to have principles, and because how can we think about others, how can we think about the world if even we don't think about ourselves first? So the one that we have to change is like the people in front of the mirror, it's ourselves first. So that's why that self-improvement, self-development is really need to young people also to have aim and initiatives to change the world itself, not only like follow the trend, but is really want to change the world. Because you never too young to change the world, and if you want to change the world, you have to change yourself first. And we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Franklin D. Roosevelt. And one thing that like Malala says that one child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Thank you very much. So I would like to give it to the MC.
Okay, thank you so much, Kadina, for the conclusion. It's so inspire us. And so the last session is to remember us about today's moment of this webinar. We're going to perpetuate taking pictures together, who will lead by Kadias. And so there is three slides here. So you can keep your nice expression to take picture too. Okay, Kadias, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Hello there, everyone. Would you please would be so kind to open your webcam so we can see clearly all of your beautiful and handsome faces here? Yeah. Just want to be look good on the camera. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And okay, okay, since there is two slide, okay then. Okay, everyone. Please, Mr. Tolup, Mr. Bangkit, Mr. Muhammad Sofyan, Mr. Evi. You can open the camera now. Right then, I'm gonna. Okay. I'm gonna say until 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna go to picture together. Okay. And this is the first page. 1, 2, 3. Smile to the camera. And give me a moment. Next to the second page. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile to the camera. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I would like to bring the floor back to the moderator.
MC, okay. Thank you so much, Kadias, for leading us to take picture. And thank you so much for
MC, not moderator. Sorry.
Okay,
MC.
that's okay. Okay, thank you so much for all participants in this session, especially as a token of our appreciation for who are ask question to the speaker and his valuable contribution to ask a question, and also the other participants. And also, we do not forget to all speakers who answer it clearly and directly. And the last is for all excellent inspirational speaker who present in this session. So ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you very much for your active participation in this webinar until the end of the Ramadan talk with time of promoting activism and solidarity among Muslim youth in OIC member states. I hope you can catch the benefits and the knowledge which already have delivered by our inspirational speakers. And I'm Siciloni as an MC in today's session. Let me to close our webinar today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a nice day and stay healthy. See you on the next session. Goodbye.
Bye.
We are going to roll out the video for
Bye-bye.
the closing, guys.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Enes Yalman.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Telah tiba bulan Ramadan.